Hello everyone, my name is Moonshine and I'm the host of today's AMA with CLIX, another amazing and interesting project we have here at GoldDiggers Call. And in today's AMA we'll cover what is CLIX, how is the CLIX Marketplace, how does it work, and the utility of the CLIX token, the community benefits, and how we all can get started with this transparent lending, stablecoin settlement, AI-driven credit scoring, and even the rewards that it incentivizes for all those who get involved with the project. So we have Chris here with us. But to start with, could you kindly introduce yourself and the team behind this project? How did you guys start this project?
Well, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. My name's Chris Hogg. I'm the founder of CLIX. CLIX is a unique consumer credit marketplace, introducing lenders and borrowers, transforming traditional consumer credit, and introducing people-to-people lending. Let me tell you a little bit about me and our team. I've been in consumer credit all my career, 35 plus years. All of our team are finance professionals, and we've built this platform to transform and make more available and more accessible to consumers globally consumer credit. What's consumer credit? We know it as personal loans, as credit cards is probably the most widely adopted use of consumer credit. But throughout my career, and particularly in the last 10 years, I saw that less and less people had access to consumer credit. I'll give you two analogies which I think will position our marketplace very soundly for you. The first analogy is, think of CLIX as a dating site. CLIX is introducing lenders to borrowers, borrowers to lenders. CLIX is the eBay of personal credit. Think of it as a trading place, a market where people can lend to other people across borders securely and in a frictionless way. You know, our tagline, no banks, no borders, no friction, says it all. My second analogy that I ask everybody to think about is this. Does it occur to you why banks will pay you 2% on your savings, but lend you that same money at 20% on your credit card? Where's the gap? So yeah, it's profit, but it's cost of customer acquisition, it's friction, it's servicing, it's all the reasons why banks make multi-billion-dollar profits every quarter. We are eliminating that middleman. This is the true definition of DeFi. This is decentralized finance. Users will come to our platform, register, be approved, KYC, AML, and then we'll put up on our platform what their requirements are. What do they want to borrow? Why do they want it? How long do they want it for? And they'll post that. Lenders will come to our platform who are ordinary people with idle capital looking for a better rate of return. And up until now, they've never had access to other consumers to lend money. Now, later on in this discussion group, we'll talk about the tools and the educational modules that we provide to lenders and borrowers to help them make the right decision as to which borrower to engage with. But very simply, it's a marketplace, it's people-to-people lending, and it's addressing the biggest market in consumer finance in the world. It's a $10 trillion market, and there's over 1 billion people on planet Earth who don't have access to consumer credit. And we only need 0.001% of that market to be the next unicorn. So thanks, Moonshine. I hope that kind of sets the scene as to who and what we are.
Yeah, it definitely does. And using the bank analogy really brings home the point, and seeing how you guys intend to build such an infrastructure is kind of intriguing, because it's actually a problem that even laymen face in their day-to-day lives, right? But now, understanding that your vision is literally people lending to people, as the marketplace grows, how do you preserve that peer-to-peer philosophy instead of just gradually evolving into another centralized lending platform operating under a different name?
Great question. I've been a skeptic for years about the so-called fintechs. Let me tell you what I think a fintech is. A fintech is a bank or a finance company that discovered the internet. A fintech is just simply a centralized institution delivering loans over the web. That's not what we are, and that's what we will never become. We are a true community, bringing people together, those with capital meeting those without or a need for capital. Also, let me put this in perspective. This is a small to medium-sized loan platform. This is where you go for $500 or $5,000 or maybe $10,000 to $15,000 for a good purpose. This is not Aave. This is not Compound. This is not another crypto leverage staking play. This is taking a global market that's been around 100 years, that's still stuck in the traditional way of banking and finance, and bringing it to the blockchain. We didn't start with the blockchain and discover consumer credit was a good idea. We started with consumer credit and discovered the blockchain. So the blockchain for us is a means to an end. It's a efficient, secure, borderless, anonymous delivery system. And that's what we've built. If you go to CLIX.money, you can play with our testnet. It's a very simple app. And in 3 months from now, we'll go mainnet live production, and we're launching in the European Union, in Spain and Germany. Ladies and gentlemen on this call, this is a big play. Okay, this isn't some small mean play. This is going to be a big platform, and I encourage everybody to take that viewpoint. This is not a short-term pump and dump, make some money. Please, if you're thinking about that, don't invest in CLIX. This is a 1 to 2 to 3 year play. But having said that, it is transforming one of the biggest markets in the world. We'll go slowly. We'll build it slowly. But it will be increasingly very valuable.
Very great insights as to what prompted building such an ecosystem and how you guys intend to preserve it over time. So now, going to the CLIX reputation score, which I believe could be one of the tools, right? I see that your reputation model appears to predict future reliability, unlike the traditional credit scores that we have today, which is largely measured with past repayment behavior. So how does your team, or how do you guys validate that predictive models continue to perform accurately as borrower behavior evolves?
Yeah, good question. So if the blockchain is changing the way in which consumer credit can be transacted, AI is changing the way in which credit and positive credit behavior can be measured and scored. I've built 2 scorecard businesses in the last 15 to 20 years, but they've been traditional, what we call bureau-based scores. But having said that, what we've identified are a couple of factors. Firstly, we need data, and the traditional bureaus have, to a large extent, for probably 50 to 60% of the population, have that data, and we have the ability to access it. We've signed a partnership with Experian globally. We're starting in Europe. Experian is the biggest credit data analytics company in the world. They're really excited about CLIX. That's a tremendous vote of confidence for us. So we'll take the Experian data and then we're going to enhance it. We've signed a partnership with Risk Seal. Take a look at it. Risk, S-E-A-L. Risk Seal has developed a digital footprint analytical platform using AI. So they're monitoring and scoring shopping behavior, social media, a lot of non-traditional factors. So we, using our algorithms, are layering that into the traditional score. And then lastly, we have an AI team led by one of our directors, Professor Stringer. Simon Stringer heads up artificial intelligence and has done for the last 25 years at Oxford University. He's one of our founding shareholders, one of our directors. So his team is helping us develop the reputation score, where we believe your reputation is far more important looking forward than the looking backwards traditional credit score. Now, let me finish on the other 40%. And what I mean by that is those that have either no credit file or what we call a thin credit file. Those folks globally will never have the access that they deserve into the consumer credit system. So we have developed some alternative tools to try and bring them in to the CLIX Marketplace, probably for smaller amounts to start with, but providing some tools to allow them to get started. And there's a great post that I did on LinkedIn where I'm talking about, how many of us, when we go for our first job, just need that first job so that we can then begin to climb the employment ladder. Well, credit's the same. For that 40% that are excluded today, if you've got bad credit, you need credit to get good credit. It's a circular firing squad of not being able to really improve your ability to access capital and borrow money. So I'm glad you asked me about that, because that's really the centerpiece of what CLIX Marketplace will offer borrowers. So once a borrower registers as a user, puts in the data, we score that borrower straight away using the reputation score. And then a lender, as he's surfing the opportunities, will see that score, but more importantly, will also be able to measure what that score means by a number of tools that we provide just for the lenders to be able to assess which loan they would like to transact. So I'm sorry if that's a long explanation, but it's a very important part of what we're doing and will be leading our platform's success in the markets that we're opening up in.
Yeah, I mean, I always personally appreciate detailed explanation like that. It goes a long way to show that the team is very well knowledgeable about the kind of system that they are building. When you could sense that a team is actually very vast in what they are building, it creates this trust in the heart of people who want, or investors who wants to get involved in the ecosystem. So really appreciate that breakdown. And
Sure.
the next And I wanted to ask is, we don't want to forget the fact that the project is trying to tie in something of real life into blockchain infrastructure and smart contracts. So, smart contracts will automate loan execution, but consumer lending often involves a lot of things like disputes, exceptions, unforeseen circumstances. So, does the team intentionally leave room for human intervention, or you guys have decided to automate every process involved?
No, there's no human intervention here. Our loan contract and the guarantee that goes with that is smart contract driven. It's completely decentralized in the execution of every loan. So there is no human interaction in respect to the transacting between the borrower and the lender. So in that regard, it is totally smart contract driven. Sorry
Okay.
for the interruption. I'm just trying to power up my my laptop here. Keep talking.
Okay, it's fine.
There we
So
go.
I just wanted to be clear about that. That's why I asked that question. So let's move over to the risk management aspect of the project, right? I see that CLIX Protect offers default protection on eligible funds or loans, rather. Could you explain the economic model behind that protection? And more importantly, how does the team prevent moral hazard where either borrowers or lenders begin taking greater risks because they know protection exists?
Look, good question. This is a key to the early success and adoption of the platform. CLIX Protect is simply a default protection for lenders to select and pay an additional fee based upon the credit score of the borrower to protect that loan against the borrower defaulting. And before I explain how and why, let me give you another interesting data point, which I'm sure all of your listeners will be surprised to hear. The biggest form of unsecured credit in the world is credit cards. Okay? There's no security, there's no collateral, it's totally score based. And as I said, it's a big part of a $10 trillion market. So that is unsecured, unprotected lending based simply off traditionally a very old bank-driven score system. The banks charge, 14 to 25% interest rate for credit cards. Well, let me share with you a data point that is not widely known. And you can check this out by searching AI anytime you like. The global default rate, that is the number of unsecured credit cards or consumer loans that go bad for the last 30 years, has never exceeded 5% of all the loans made, of all the credit cards issued, except 1 year, which was 0809, when we had the Great Recession, when it spiked to like 7%. So again, explain to me why the banks think they can charge 19.95 to 25.95 and they're only paying 5% in losses. Another driver to the success that we expect for CLIX. And so coming back to the default protection, we'll be charging a fee to lenders. The borrowers will not know whether their loan is protected or not. They need to meet their obligations either way. Yes, they will know that such a protection exists on the CLIX platform. They will know that as a lender can pay an additional fee. but they won't know whether their loan's insured or protected against default. And so for us, the main objective is to give the early days, the early lenders who don't want to take naked risk to the borrower some comfort. Hear how I think it'll go. And I've been doing this, as I said, all my life. I think there'll be a large uptake on the lenders early on, but once they get comfortable with the very low default rate, once they get comfortable with their loans being repaid and a good interest rate, at a good interest rate, they won't buy the default protection any longer because they'll save the cost of it to their profit on the loan. But it's a good tool early on as a sort of comforter so that we can encourage more individual lenders into the platform, and that's its purpose. Are you there?
Oh, I didn't know my mic was muted. Sorry. So I was saying, thank you so much for the breakdown on that question. I still have 2 more questions, but I'd like to keep it simple at just this so we can get enough questions from the community and hear what they think, because that is how you're going to know their impression on the presentation or the section so far. So what do you say, getting some questions from the community?
Yeah, look, before we go to the community, because I'd like to finish on that,
Okay.
can we update everybody on the token and where we're at with?
Definitely go through that.
Yeah, let me just update you all, folks. So those of you, and I recognize some of you on this call, will be familiar with where the CLIX token IDO and DEX listing is at. But let me share with others. So firstly, our IDO closed last week on primarily 2 launch pads fully subscribed. There is no further opportunity to invest in CLIX other than to buy the token at listing. Our claim date and listing is this Saturday, so literally in 3 days' time. And I encourage anybody on this call, there'll probably be bargains like there always is when there's an initial listing, but I don't think that'll last for long. So I encourage listeners, if they're interested in participating, be aware that we will be listing on PancakeSwap at 12 p.m. UTC on Saturday, the 8th of August. Within a few weeks, we will be migrating to a centralized exchange. I'm not able to share with you who that is, but it'll be a tier 2 and possibly a tier 1 exchange. Our roadmap is very clear. We will be mainnet and live launching this platform by the end of October, early November, probably the worst case. And don't forget this, folks. This is a revenue generating platform. This is a real business. This is a business in the real world. This is a business where we charge a fee for every transaction that crosses our platform. This is a project that has a very innovative rewards program for all users, where we're adopting the hyperliquid model of making our rewards from tokens that we will buy on the market. We will not dilute our treasury or our supply by rewards airdrops. We will be purchasing our own tokens at market, and that combined, and by the way, how do we do that? Because we're generating revenue and we have an 85% profit margin, and we'll be turning more than 50% of that cash back into the marketplace. that will have a very positive effect on the value of these tokens as the platform grows. Our tokenomics is very, very tight. We only have 165 million lifetime. 125 million of those are locked up for the next 12 months, followed by a 24-month vesting period. The circulating supply this weekend is less than 1%. So whilst there'll be some ups and downs early on, I do commend to any of GoldDiggers listeners and followers, Pancake Swap, 12 p.m. on Saturday or next week. Follow it, put some away, put it in a cold storage wallet, and come see me 12 months from now and tell me how it's doing. Because I've projected what our revenues, rewards program, the utility, and the tokenomics will do for the value of this investment, and it's very encouraging. And here's the last word, and then we can take some questions. Please know this. We are a group of very professional finance executives. I've done 5 startups on 3 continents in a nearly 40-year career. I've taken 2 of those to public stock exchanges. We don't lose. And we make a promise, we keep it. And we believe that this is the beginning of a very exciting journey for CLIX and our communities. And we welcome everybody along. And now, with that, happy to take any questions from your listeners.
Definitely. So I can see some hands already. Guys, if you have questions, kindly signify by raising your hands. I see a lot of questions in the chat, and that was why I decided to keep my questions simple so we can get a number of you guys in here. So let's have let me see. Let's have Daco ask a question. So you can go ahead with your question, Daco.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My question is, what is your strongest that you think will make CLIX leading in the market, and what is your unique selling point that your competitor don't have? That's my question.
A good question. Firstly, we don't have any competition. This marketplace is the first of its kind. There is no people-to-people consumer lending platform today. Our unique proposition, our unique feature, therefore, is the very platform itself. Will there be more to come? Probably, undoubtedly. But we'll be first, and we're launching in Europe, and then we're moving to the United States, and then we're going to move to Asia. So to answer your question, there is no competition. The competition is the banks. And that goes to the very heart or the very core of our unique proposition, that we are decentralizing the banks from consumer credit. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Daco, for throwing in a question. Let's have one here from Habibi. You can go ahead with your question, please.
Habibi.
Yeah, sorry. The Telegram bug is affecting me. So, hello, Chris. Great hearing so far.
Thank you.
Okay, my question is on growing the marketplace where balance is everything. Peer-to-peer lending only works well when both borrowers and lenders remain active. How do you plan to maintain that balance as the platform grows so that one side doesn't significantly outpace the other?
Really good question, Habibi. Let's be realistic. There will always be more borrowers than lenders. That's the nature of the world. the size of the borrowing market globally, and particularly in our launch markets in Europe, is in the hundreds of millions. Who doesn't want to borrow money, and who doesn't want a new alternative to borrow money? So there won't be a numerical balance. We will always have more borrowers than lenders. So to answer your question, our focus will be on the lenders, to encourage lenders to trust the platform, to test out our credit score, and to see what we predict will be a market equivalent default rate. So that's why we're focusing on the score, the CLIX reputation score, and that's why we're focusing on CLIX Protect, to give those lenders confidence to attract them to the platform. So as we launch and grow and scale, most of our attention as a management team will be on the lenders and bringing together pools of liquidity from higher net worth folks, foundations, family offices, individuals, wealth managers, so that we can create enough supply to meet the demand. Now, that will never balance out. It will always be imbalanced. But the more lender confidence we get, the more borrowers that will be satisfied. And the more borrowers that will be satisfied, and the stronger our credit score performs, the more lenders we'll get. And the rewards program will have a big impact on that, because the value of the token, as it's granted to the users, borrowers and lenders, the increase in the value of that token does something really important. To the lenders, they're getting token rewards for making loans. And the value of that token increases the return they're getting on their loan. They're not only getting interest, but they're getting the value of token. And the borrowers will get tokens. But think about this. They will only get those tokens. They will only vest if the borrower repays the loan. And so that will drive positive credit behavior, number one. And number two, it will also reduce the cost of the loan, because the interest they pay will be offset to some extent by the value of the tokens they're granted as rewards. So if you think about that flywheel effect, that one will drive the other, it will never be in total balance, but it will be heading in the right direction. And therefore our focus will be on lenders and rewards. I hope that answers you, Habibi.
Yeah, I really appreciate the honesty. So on that note, I've already taken a position in CLIX because I believe the vision has strong potential. As a holder, what milestones should I be paying the closest attention to over the next 12 to 18 months that would demonstrate the project is executing according to plan beyond just token price?
Very good question. The milestones are simple from here. Firstly, we'll finish our production platform, go live, mainnet, centralized exchange listing, all to take place by the end of October, early November. As we move into next year, the next milestone will be publicly launching December, January in Spain, and then in Germany. The third milestone will occur around the middle of next year, where we will grow that market into one or two other countries in the European Union, which we've identified, but I won't name just yet. And the last milestone for next year will be the delivery of positive and profitable results, which we'll be releasing to the market on a monthly basis, and the transparency that we will demonstrate, so that not only our investors, but our borrowers and our lenders know of the performance of this marketplace. And that's how confident we are. So those milestones, you should be looking to June to September of next year, having achieved launch. Spain and Germany, one or two other states will begin to start, one or two other countries in Europe, and will begin to start to investigate the United States, which will be an enormous market for us. We're fully licensed for MiCA under our partnership with BitGo. I didn't mention BitGo, but we've got a great relationship with BitGo. They're a $2 billion cryptocurrency exchange, which you'll all be familiar with. They too have great confidence in the success of CLIX. Our institutional wallet is both BitGo and Rain here in Bahrain, where I live and where our headquarters are at this time. So those are the near term, the next 12 months for you, Habibi.
All right, thank you very much. I cannot wait to see the heights CLIX will reach. Thank you so much for your answers.
My pleasure.
All right, thank you so much for your questions, Habibi. I heard you mentioned you had already taken a position with CLIX. Obviously, we don't give financial advice here, but after doing your own research, you saw that the project was worthy of your investment. Really appreciate that. So it's worth the time to answer your questions. We have another question from Carlos here in the chat, said he bought during the IDO on Spurs Network. How does that differ from the IDO currently running on the CLIX website? Are the terms, allocations, or participants' benefits the same, or are there any key differences?
No, and we like Spurs Network a lot. The price is the same, 10 cents. The only difference is that we left our own IDO on our website open until Thursday night, Friday, because we had a lot of inquiry from folks who didn't get an opportunity to invest directly into a launchpad at 10 cents. The only difference is there is no refund window on the CLIX IDO, our Alpha IDO on our platform. The price is the same. The unlock is the same. The vesting is identical. There is no difference other than there is not a refund opportunity. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't get this refund structure of blockchain at all. I don't think I'll ever understand it. You want to buy CLIX? Go buy CLIX and go take a 6 to 12 month investment view. Don't buy CLIX and then because it doesn't perform in the first 24 hours, ask for your money back. That is the most ridiculous concept. And I'm sorry if I'm losing it here a little bit. That is the most ridiculous concept I've ever heard in financial markets. And eventually, I think the blockchain will mature past the pump and dump and the rug pull and the memes and the silliness and start to take itself seriously. And I hope that refund window nonsense just drops away. However, we're stuck with it now, and it's a risk to, I guess, the net proceeds of the launchpad, and we'll live with it. But I'm not giving investment advice here. What I'm telling folks is this is a long-term play. And I think that, and a good point that you just raised, sir, our IDO is actually still open on the website, but it will close, I think it's midnight tomorrow night. So I leave that with anybody that wants to lock in the 10 cents and the current vesting, as opposed to taking a risk on the market price.
Great question, Carlos. I hope that answered your question. You're still free to head to their channel, follow them on X, ask whatever questions you have in case you didn't get or you still have more questions. Thank you so much for jumping and asking a question in the chat. So let's have one last live question here because of the time frame, you spoke about at the beginning of the aim. I don't want to keep you waiting too long. So Kelvin Connor, you can go ahead with your question, please. You have been unmuted.
Yeah, thank you, Moonshine. Hope you guys can hear me. Yeah, hi, Moonshine.
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, you're
Okay.
audible. You can go
Hi,
ahead.
Chris. Hi, Chris. How you doing, man?
Thank you, man. Yeah, very well. Thank you for asking.
Okay, so just okay, so let me just jump in straight to my question. Many community members, want to contribute beyond simply, this buying or holding the. Sorry. So, what opportunities, does CLIX offer for them to, actively help grow the ecosystem? And, how do you plan to, reward those who make meaningful contributions? So, yeah.
Yeah, look, Calvin, thank you. It's a really good question. We have a developed community strategy. I'll be honest with you, I think we're more focused on building community after our listing than we have been before our listing. We left that pretty much to the launch pads. We've done quite a bit of work with KOLs, ambassadors, schillers, and the community at large. We will have a significant commitment to our community and will provide incentives to grow the community, incentives to develop content for the community, but the emphasis will change. The emphasis until now has been getting the message out there about CLIX, focusing on the IDO, focusing on the DEX, focusing on, I guess, the capital, the money side. Our community focus after listing will be more around the platform itself, more about developing community and content around users, borrowers, and lenders. And that's a big job because that's millions of people who will be interested to understand, learn, and educate around how the platform works. So to answer your question, it's a really good one for our last question. You can reach out to us through our community moderation channel, through our links, and my senior manager, Mike, at CLIX, Mike_P, will respond to you, as will our community manager, Akshat, and we'll certainly include you in any of our plans going forward.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. You answered the question in detail. I love the way you answered it. Thank you very much, man. Wish you guys best of luck on that. Thank you.
My pleasure. Well, thank you, Moonshine.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for jumping on the AMA. Thank you, Kelvin, for throwing in a question. So this is where we'll be wrapping up all the questions. But before I close down the VC, don't forget that the IDO is still open. Do your own financial research. Do your own research. The website is open. All their social links have also been pinned on the AMA banner. So do well to go through all of that. And don't forget to follow them on X and on the official channels, because that is where you get updates. I mean, real updates about CLIX and what they are going to build, and obviously the milestones that would be crossed in the coming few months. So before I close on the VC, Chris, I'd like you to give you the floor to give the concluding statements.
Yeah, let me leave this closing statement with everybody, and I think it's an important one. This is a transformation of a very large financial marketplace. Its potential over the next 2 to 3 years is unlimited. You can trust us. We're experienced. We will see this through, and this will be, hopefully, for all of us, a very exciting journey. It's a real business in a real financial marketplace, taking all the advantages of AI and blockchain and deploying them by changing the way traditional finance is undertaken. And that's why thank you to Jonathan, thank you to the Gold Digger community, because I know that's your focus and you're in the right space. And I hope that we are one of the leading lights. Thanks again, everybody. Be safe and have a terrific evening.
Yeah, wishing you the same. Thank you so much, Chris. We hope in the future, once CLIX begins to grow bigger, wider adoption, we have you here back at GoldDiggers, walking us through the milestones that have been crossed and incredible things that you guys have built. So wish you an amazing day and great one to the team.
Thanks a lot.